Good afternoon. Wow, that was really anemic, you all, for Christmas Eve. So we'll do it again. Good afternoon. Thank you. I am so glad to see all of you here in the sanctuary. A big welcome to those of you on Zoom, both from our congregation and around the country. I want to thank the RE volunteers and the children for the very fine pageant and the intergenerational orchestra. So if you were here, would you give them a round of applause? As we settle into our service, I'm going to take a minute and ask you to please silence your phones, or to check to see your phones are on silent. And in keeping with the solemnity of this service, I'm going to ask you to please hold your applause until the end of the postlude. I promise I will give you an opportunity to show your appreciation. And now it is my pleasure to introduce you to Nathan McChristie. The carol you just heard, Let Christmas Come, was written only in 1984 by Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend John Hanley Morgan. With the exception of a few songs, almost all the music you will hear tonight and almost all of the words were written by Unitarian Universalists. The opening words this evening are by the Reverend Douglas Furbish. If we fill our lives with things and yet more things, if we feel that we must fill every moment with activity, when will we have the time to make the long, slow journey across the desert, as did the wise men? And when will we sit and watch the stars, as did the shepherds? Or when will we sit and brood over the coming of a child, as did Mary? When will you have the time to make the spiritual journey? For each of us, there is a desert to travel, a star to discover and then to follow, and a being within ourselves to bring to light.
The words we will sing to the traditional carol in the bleak midwinter were adapted in the mid-20th century by the Reverend John Andrew Story, a British Unitarian minister. They remind us that the story of a child born in the manger calls us to greater love. Please rise in body or spirit to sing in the bleak midwinter. The words will be on your screen.
So, those of you who are on Zoom at home, we would like to greet you. And so if you would please turn on your video. You don't have to turn on the sound, but turn on your video. And we're going to put you up on the screen. So more of you put on your video. We want to see you. Doesn't matter what you're wearing. Some of you are shy. And if you would wave to us so we can see you, and those of you here, if you look at the screen and wave. And can we all say Merry Christmas to people at home and people online? Can you say Merry Christmas to us? Thank you. Steve.
The words for the next piece come from Unitarian religious leader Dr. Sophia Lyons-Fahs. Born in 1876, she was a teacher, writer, etiquette, and advocate who helped to revolutionize American children's religious education. She was one of 2 women faculty members at Union Theological School and then joined the staff of the American Unitarian Association. In this piece, Fahs reminds us that although Christmas Eve traditionally celebrates the birth of one baby, as Unitarian Universalists, we know that every child born is a miracle and a hope for our shared future. For so the children come, and so they have been coming, always the same way they come, born of the seed of a man and a woman. Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for sleep, a time for wandering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night. No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise people see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind. Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wandering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy, holy night. Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Parents and caregivers, sitting beside their children's cribs, feel glory in the sight of new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or Will it ever end? Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born is a holy night. Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born is a holy night.
Hello, I'll be reading This is a Holy Night by Reverend Dr. Deborah W. Hafner. This is a holy night. We come from many traditions, or perhaps no traditions at all. We have celebrated decades of Christmases, or this might be only our first or second time at a Christmas Eve service. Yet together we know this is a holy night. It is a holy night because we are here together, joined in our common humanity, listening to the words of the centuries-old stories and the familiar carols, recognizing that these are our stories too. We have been the frightened young couple whose lives are about to change forever through no intention of our own. We have known what it is like to not fit in, to be excluded, to be told there is no room at the inn for us. We too have been the shepherds who are stunned into silence by the awe of nature, fearful of what we are being asked to do next. We are the wayfarers on a journey that has an ending we do not know. But we also know the promise of looking into the eyes of a newborn child. We recognize the divine within that new life, Emmanuel, God is with us. We have known the excitement and the adventure of a shared new journey. We know that we cannot make it through this life alone. We pray that we will too have visits from wise angels, angels who will tell us not to be afraid, and those who bring us light in our darkest days to show us the way. We yearn for the promise of peace and everlasting love, and that the words of the carols may ring true. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. In the bleak midwinter, in this world of pain, may our hearts be open, may love be born again. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. Joy to the world, joy to the earth. Peace on earth, goodwill to all. Silent night, holy night, may all be calm, may all be bright. And we know together it is indeed a holy night, and we are blessed to share it together.
The next carol, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, is based on a poem written in 1863 by Unitarian poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The poem is about Christmas during the Civil War. It's about finding hope after tragedy. Longfellow's wife, unfortunately, tragically died in a fire the year before, and his son was wounded as a soldier. And just to mention, the last line, peace on earth, goodwill to all, is from the book of Luke. So now, if you would please rise in body and spirit to sing I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. The words are on the screen.
For those who are singing from the hymnal, we're doing the verse 1, 2, and 5.
Our split plate tonight is to support Hi, our local agency that supports the homeless. Just like Mary and Joseph in the story, too many of our neighbors find that there is no room for them. You may also write checks this evening to the Ministerial Discretionary Fund, which serves our members who fall on hard times. So if you're writing a check, please indicate in the memo line your desire for your offering, or if you are using Zelle or PayPal, you can do so as well. As we collect the offering, Nathan will be playing O Holy Night for us. O Holy Night was translated from a French carol by Unitarian minister, the Reverend John Sullivan Dwight, in 1855. Apparently, the ministry didn't go so well for Reverend Dwight. So shortly after ordination, he turned to music, and then he led a school at a utopian community. An ardent abolitionist, he added words to the French to address ending slavery. O Holy Night honors Jesus as a great teacher of social ethics and emancipation. On a closer note to home, Mariah Carey had one of her first gold records singing O Holy Night. So will the ushers please come forward? And Nathan, will you come up? As Nathan plays, the offering will be collected and gratefully received. In the spirit of Christmas, please be generous to our neighbors.
The next song the choir will sing was written in 1962 by a Unitarian Universalist couple, Noel and Gloria Renier. Members of, strangely enough, Reverend Deborah's former congregation in Westport, Connecticut. Noel Renier was born in France and was conscripted into the Nazi army. He deserted and came to the United States. Do You Hear What I Hear was written as a plea for peace during the week of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Gloria wrote, we couldn't sing it through. It broke us up. We cried. Our little song broke us up. There was the threat of nuclear war at the time. The Renier's other best-known songs were Rain, Rain, Go Away and Dominica by the Singing Nun. Please enjoy this choir piece.
extraordinary. I give up. Thank you, choir. Sometimes you just gotta clap, right? That was beautiful. My ex got Christmas in the divorce. For the past 3 years, he has taken my adult children on lovely trips during Christmas week. When I said that I thought we should share Christmas, or at least alternate Christmases, I was told that Christmas was his due to his being born a Christian and my being born Jewish, despite our having celebrated Christmas as a family for more than 30 years. See, I loved adopting Christmas when I got married to a person who was formerly Catholic, and then we became Unitarians. I loved cutting down the Christmas tree. I loved putting candles in the window, although to be honest, lights on the house were too much for this Jewish girl. And I loved his family's tradition of the 7 fishes on Christmas Eve. But going back further, as a child, I so wanted to celebrate Christmas. I wanted a red velvet dress and black patent leather shoes. I bet some of you, raise your hands, ladies, if you had that red velvet dress. Yeah, see, I wanted that dress. And what I really wanted was to wake up on Christmas morning and find a pile of presents under a tree. One Christmas season, when my parents were out, the babysitter helped my sister and I decorate the plants in the home with paper chains. My parents were not amused to come home to faux Christmas rubber plants. But I have to admit, when I became a Unitarian Universalist almost 40 years ago, I was leery of worship on Christmas Eve. The second year that I was a UU, my child was an angel in the pageant, and I had to sew wings on her costume. As I sat there trying to figure out how do you sew wings onto a dress, my Jewish self felt vaguely uncomfortable thinking about what my grandmother might have thought about my angel-garbed child singing "Glory to the Newborn King." Some of you, I know, come from other religious traditions, and you may too feel a twinge of, what am I doing at a Christmas Eve service? Though through the years, I have come to love Christmas and its many traditions, and my ex's belief aside, I embrace Christmas as my holiday. Did you know that it was Unitarians and Universalists who brought most Christmas traditions to the United States? Someone just said, of course we did. From Christmas trees to writing jingle bells to Santa Claus. See, during the first 200 years of the U.S., our Puritan ancestors did not celebrate Christmas at all. It was actually illegal to celebrate Christmas in Puritan Boston. The very first Christmas service in America was held at threat of arrest by a Universalist minister in a Universalist church in Boston in 1787. By the early 19th century, Unitarian ministers, to the dismay of their Christian clergy colleagues, began to observe Christmas in their congregations. It was in 1832 that Unitarian minister Charles Fallon brought the first Christmas tree in America inside a home in Lexington, Massachusetts, a practice he had learned in Germany, and the practice began to catch on among his congregants. Unitarian ministers in the 1800s wrote the songs we've been singing tonight, and also Jingle Bells, and It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. I bet you didn't know that Clement Moore, who wrote "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" in 1823, he was a Unitarian. It introduced the idea that Santa lived at the North Pole and brought gifts to children. That picture we all have of Santa with a beard and a red and white suit, Unitarian political columnist Thomas Nast drew him for the first time during the Civil War. It was only in 1870 that Christmas became a federal holiday. So don't you love learning how our Unitarian Universalist forebears created these traditions? But I want to tell you, I also have learned to love the story as well. The Christmas story may not be a factual, true story, but it has lasted all these years because, and this is for my regulars, because it is a truth story, a story that speaks to us today because it tells us about us. Surely, the story reminds us of how hard life can be. 2,000 years later, teenagers are still getting pregnant unexpectedly. Lands are still ruled and desecrated by authoritarian leaders. Refugees are still being forced 2,000 years later from their homelands. And the poor still need food and housing and adequate maternal care and health care. But just as importantly as that reminder, the story lives on because it is a truth story of faith and hope and love and miracles. The faith of a teenage girl accepting she is pregnant, the faith of her boyfriend to accept the angel's message, the faith of the shepherds who leave all they know to follow a star, the faith of the Magi to set out on a journey and then once having met the baby to defy the ruler and not go home the way he said. The hope for a better life in another land, the hope a new baby brings, the hope that life will emerge, a hope for peace on earth. Do we not hope, my friends, for peace on earth this year? At the end of World War II, the Reverend Dr. A. Powell Davies, the great Unitarian minister who planted churches all over the Washington, D.C. area, wrote in his Christmas sermon, "We hope for a world of gladness from which all cruelty is gone, in which the joy of each is the joy of everyone, the sorrow of each, the sorrow of all. We hope that there can be such a world because there is a song that sings it. And because in the darkest hour there will come a light and a new hope to those who sit in the darkness once again." See, my friends, we celebrate tonight love triumphant, the birth of the baby surrounded by love in that manger. With Sophia Faz, we remember, as the Matthew Gospel teaches, that every baby brings the promise of Emmanuel. That word means God is with us. The divine is with us. Every human being, every human life, no matter how humble its beginnings, can bless the world. The story reminds us to be open to the miracles. It is a miracle to be alive. It is a miracle to be loved. It is a miracle to love others. The beauty tonight of the music, the songs, the candles, the words of the service coming together, you all being here. The miracles we create at UUFH when we join our hearts and our voices and our actions together. The miracle that you are here tonight with your loved ones. The miracle that I'm here tonight, that we are here together in beloved community. The miracle that we are creating a vibrant, growing congregation and of celebrating this Christmas Eve together. I am so happy that Christmas is now my holiday, and I am so happy to be spending my Christmas with you. Amen. Blessed be. And now, Lisa Burby, will you come up? Lisa is the chair of our worship committee, and Sandra Jens is going to join us, and she is our Sunday school coordinator. Oh, we have candles. And we are going to get ready for Silent Night. Let me tell you, Silent Night was not written by a Unitarian Universalist. It is, however, I learned this week, the world's most recorded Christmas song, Mariah Carey notwithstanding. And we are going to be coming down and lighting your one candle on the end of the rose, and then we ask you to light each other. Let me just show you quickly that you take the unlit candle and go this way, not the lit candle that way. Okay? So, because I don't know where the fire extinguishers are. All right, time to light your candles. Please rise as you are able. Night has fallen, stars beckon in an indigo and velvet sky. Somewhere a baby is being born. Tonight the world lazes in a love of goodness while glories stream from heaven afar. God is meeting us tonight where we are. So be not afraid and be of good cheer. We wish you each and all a very Merry Christmas. The hopes and fears of all the years have been met. So rest beside the winding road and hear the angels sing. May your Christmas and New Year's be blessed. In the words of Yes Unitarian Charles Dickens, God bless you, everyone. And if you would join, you may sit. And we're going to hear this once through, and then we're going to ask you to join in.